Crochet Creations, and for today's tutorial I'll be showing you how to crochet this cute little elephant keychain. Isn't it just cute? Okay, so let's get on with the materials. Okay, so for the materials, in order to make this cute crochet elephant, I'll be using a 2mm crochet hook. This is just to get my stitches nice and tight. And you'll also be needing a pair of scissors, and you'll also be needing a pair of blunt scissors just to push the pillow stuffing into the elephant. And you'll also be needing some jewellery pliers, a stitch marker, and some safety eyes. These are probably I don't know, like 0.4mm safety eyes, I think. I'm not quite sure. I bought these safety eyes in a container like this, and yeah, it does not mention any sizes. So yeah, I ran out of the actual stud safety eyes, so I'll be using these flat safety eyes. I also have a jump ring over here. I have a jump ring, I have a keychain, and I also have a tapestry needle to sew in my ends. And you'll also be needing a hot glue gun just to glue those eyes on. And even if you do have the plastic stud ones with the washers, I do also recommend hot gluing the backs of the washers in place just so that they don't come undone. And yeah, with regards to the yarn, I'll be using this grey yarn. The brand is Charity Double Knit. All of this yarn here is Charity Double Knit. So it is 100% acrylic. It is 100 grams. It is approximately 233 meters. It recommends a 4mm crochet hook, but as I said, we'll be going down to a 2mm crochet hook. And this is the color silver gray. So it's this nice light gray. So I do have a full ball here because I'm not sure if this will be enough or if I'll run out. I don't know. And then I have this like light pink here. I'm not quite sure what color this is, but it is a light pink. This is just to make the bow of the elephant. And then we'll have some white. You just need a little bit of white just to embroider white around the eyes, just to make the eyes pop. Okay, so that is it for the materials. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so to get started, we are just going to get our yarn, our silver gray, and we are going to start off by making the head. Okay, so for the head, as I said, we'll be using our 2mm crochet hook for this pattern. And to start off, we'll be making a magic ring. So to make a magic ring or magic circle, what I like to do is I like to take my yarn, wrap it around my finger once, twice, and then the third time coming around, you're going to form an X. And then you just want to hold that down with your pinky finger, just so that that doesn't move. And then what you'd want to do is you'd want to insert your hook under those first two loops. Then you're going to yarn over with this other strand here. You're going to yarn over, pull that through those two loops, and then you're just going to chain one just to secure that. So chain one is just yarn over and pull through that loop to secure your magic ring. And then you're just going to gently take your magic ring off of your fingers. And then what we are now going to do, let me just zoom in quickly here. Okay, so now what we're going to do, this is what our magic ring should be looking like now. So now what we're going to do is we are going to place 6 single crochets into the magic ring. So to do a single crochet, it is insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and pull through 2 to do your single crochet. Again, it is insert, yarn over, pull through, and yarn over and pull through those 2 loops to do a single crochet. Okay. So I like to yarn under instead of over because it makes the stitches a lot more tighter and neater. So what I like to do is normally you'd yarn over with the hook over your hook like that, but I like to yarn under, so you see the the yarn is underneath the hook. So that's the way I like to do my stitches when it comes to amigurumis. As I said, it just makes the stitches nice and tight, and it gives it that nice clean look, I suppose. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3. We need 3 more. Insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and pull through 2. Insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and pull through 2. Insert, yarn over, and pull through 2. So yeah, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, one more. Okay. So it's insert, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, and pull through those 2 loops to do another single crochet. Okay, so now this is what it should be looking like now, and we have 6 single crochets. And the way to count your single crochets is these like little V stitches there. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so now what we're going to do to close off this magic ring, we're just going to pull on our tail end. This one here, we're just going to pull on this tail end gently, just tug on it, and you'll see that the one loop is cinching in. So it's this back loop over here. So that back loop that has now been cinched in, you'd want to pull that out, but you want to pull it like down towards you. If you pull it in this direction like that, as you can see, this tail end over here is now being pulled in, and that is not what we want. So you want to pull from the top side of it, the top side, and pull it down towards you until that other loop closes. And then to get rid of this big loop, you're going to take your tail end and pull on that. Okay, so now this is where our stitch marker is going to come in handy now, because we're going to be working in continuous rounds. Okay, so again for the first round we should have 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And now moving on to the next round, we're going to place an increase into each stitch around. So an increase is just 2 single crochets into the same stitch. So we will insert into the first stitch, and I'm going to carry my yarn. Again, it is 1 single crochet into the first stitch, and then 1 single crochet into the same stitch again. And then you'll place your stitch marker into the first stitch of those 2 stitches that we did. Okay, our stitch marker is to keep track of the beginning of the round. Okay, so again we're just going to place an increase into each stitch around. So it's 2 single crochets into the same stitch. So that's 1, 2, into the next stitch, 1, 2, into the next stitch, 1, 2. And by the end of the second round, our stitch count should have gone from 6 up to 12. Okay, so again it is 1, 2 into the next stitch, and 1, 2 into the next stitch. Okay, so that is what round 2 should be looking like. As I said, we should have 12 stitches by the end of this round. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Sorry, let me just count that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, yes, it is 12. Yeah, so now moving on to the next round, we will remove our stitch marker. We'll place 1 single crochet into the first stitch. So it's insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and pull through 2. Then you'll insert your stitch marker back into the first stitch, and then into the next stitch we'll do another increase. So again, an increase is 2 single crochets into the same stitch. So that's 1, 2, and then we'll repeat that pattern all the way around, placing 1 single crochet in the next stitch, then 2 single crochets, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets. And your stitch count should have gone up from 12 up to 18 by the end of that round. So that's 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and then 2 single crochets, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and then 2 single crochets into the next stitch. 1 single crochet into the next stitch, and then 2 single crochets into the next stitch, 1 single crochet into the next stitch, and then 2 single crochets into the next stitch. Okay, coming up to the last 2 stitches, we will place 1 single crochet into the next stitch and then an increase into the last stitch. A great way to know if you have increased correctly is that all of your increases should line up with each other. So they should sit right on top of each other, all of the increases. So there's an increase there, there's an increase there, there's an increase there, and there's an increase there. And also, if you begin on 1 single crochet, you should end on an increase, and vice versa. If you start with an increase, you should end with 1 single crochet. That's also a great way to know if you have done your stitches correctly. Okay, so again, your stitch count should have gone up from 12 up to 18. So we can count. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Okay, moving on to the next round. We'll place 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches and then an increase. Okay, so that's 1 single crochet in the first stitch and then 1 single crochet into the next stitch. Okay, so that's 1, 2. And then we'll do an increase into the next stitch, which is 2 single crochets into the next stitch. And then we'll place 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches. So it's 1 and 1 into the next stitch, and then an increase into the next stitch. And you repeat that all the way around, and your stitch count should have gone up from 18 to 24 by the end of this round. Again, it is 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches, and then an increase into the next. 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches, and then an increase into the next. 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches, and then an increase into the next stitch. 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches, and then again your last stitch will be your increase. Okay, so we'll just do an increase into the last stitch. And again, your stitch count should have gone up from 18 up to 24. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. Okay. So now for from round 5 to 9, we will place 1 single crochet into each stitch around. No increasing and no decreasing, just 1 single crochet into each stitch around, keeping the same stitch count as 24. So it's literally from round 5 to 9, so that is 5 rounds. So for the next 5 rounds, if I'm not mistaken, we'll be placing 1 single crochet into each stitch around. Okay, so again, it is no increasing, no decreasing. It is simply just putting 1 single crochet into each stitch around until you have 9 rounds in total. Okay. So you can go off and you can complete your total of 9 rounds of placing 1 single crochet into each stitch around. So you should have a total of 9 rounds by the end of that. So if I'm not mistaken, it's for the next 5 rounds you'll be placing 1 single crochet in each stitch around, and you should have a total of 9 rounds from the magic ring down to the last round. Hope that makes sense the way I have explained it, because it's round 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Yeah, okay, so it's 5 rounds. I felt like I needed to make sure of that. Okay, so again, you'll just be placing 1 single crochet to each stitch around for the next 5 rounds. Okay, so I'll meet back up with you when we have a total of 9 rounds completed for the head so far. Okay, so now I have come back and I've completed a total of 5 rounds. So I have 9 rounds in total. So if I count from the beginning round, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so now before we start decreasing, I thought we should put on our safety eyes. So I'm just going to heat up my hot glue gun real quickly. Whoops, sorry, bumped the camera. I'll just put my hot glue gun on real quickly and get our safety eyes, if I can even pick them up. Joys of these flat safety eyes. Okay. Obviously, if you have the stud ones, it'll be so much easier. Okay. So we will place our safety eyes in round 5. So if we count from the top, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this round here, where is it now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this round over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I'll place we'll have 6 stitches in between our safety eyes. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 stitches. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So like there. Okay, so I'm just gonna wait for my hot glue gun to heat up. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm just gonna put in my tapestry needle where I want my first safety out to go, since these are just flat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm gonna put it there, and I'm putting my safety eyes on the opposite side of where my stitch marker is, or the end of my round. Okay, so I'm just gonna. Okay, it might be warm enough now, I think. Oops. Okay, so I'm just going to remove that there, and I'm just going to put a little tiny blob over there, and then I'm just going to put my eye on. Oops. There we go. Put on my eye. And then count 6 stitches. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So into the next one is where I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there. Okay, there we go. And then put your safety eye on. Yeah. There we go. Okay, here we go. Okay, so obviously if you have the stud eyes, it will be a lot easier. So yeah, there is our little eyes now. I think this can go up just a little bit. Yeah, so there's our little eyes. Okay, now I can put my hot glue gun off and set this aside. Okay. So now, moving on to the next round. Joys about working with this glue gun is you just have these like little strings of glue that just stick everywhere. It's so annoying. Okay, so moving on to the next round, we will now decrease. So, we're going to place 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches. So that's 1. 2, and then we'll decrease the next 2 stitches together. So in order to do that, as you can see there, we have these V stitches. So we have the, come on now, we have the front loop, which is nearest to us, and then we have the back loop, which is furthest away from us. So we are going to insert our hook into the front loop of the next 2 stitches. Okay, so to do a decrease, we'll insert our hook into the front loop of the next stitch. So you'll just come up from the side and push up into the middle like that. And then what you want to do is twist your hook down. I found this really helps. So twist your hook down and hook that second front loop with your crochet hook like that. And then we're going to yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. Then we'll have our 2 loops on a hook. Then we're going to yarn over and pull through 2 to do a single crochet. I think I'm going to make my first loop a bit tighter because I don't like how loose that was. I think I'm actually going to redo the second stitch as well. Okay, so again it's 1 single crochet into the first 2 stitches and then a decrease over the next 2. So again it is insert through the front loop of the next stitch and then the front loop of the next stitch, making sure to twist your hook down and then poke it through. Then we're going to yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over and pull through those 2 loops on a hook to do your single crochet decrease. So that is what it looks like. It looks like a single crochet is in a V stitch kind of thing. Okay, so I like to do the invisible decrease because it's a lot more invisible than the standard decrease. Okay, so again we're going to place 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches. So that's 1 and 2, and then we'll decrease the next 2 stitches. So again it's insert through the front loop of the next stitch and then the front loop of the next stitch, yarn over and pull through those 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through 2 to do your single crochet decrease. Again it is 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2, and then a decrease. So insert underneath the front loop of the next stitch and then the front loop of the next stitch, yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over and pull through 2. Oh, and your stitch count should have gone down from 24 back down to 18. Okay, and then 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches and then a decrease over the next 2 stitches. 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches, 1, 2, and then a decrease. One single crochet into the next 2 stitches and then a decrease over the last 2 stitches. Okay. Yeah, I really need to get more of these stud safety eyes because I'm actually getting worried that these are actually going to pull off. I think I might have to put some more glue underneath these safety eyes, but I'll do that a bit later. Okay, so moving on to the next round, you'll place 1 single crochet into the next stitch and then a decrease into the next stitch. Again, 1 single crochet into the next stitch and then a decrease, and then a 1 single crochet into the next stitch and then a decrease. This part is starting to get a little bit fiddly because it is getting smaller now. 1 single crochet into the next stitch and then a decrease. Okay, and your stitch count should have gone back down from 18 down to 12 by the end of this round. And then 1 single crochet into the next stitch and then a decrease. 1 single crochet. So, okay, 1 single crochet into the next stitch and then a decrease. Okay. Now it is time to stuff our head, so you can pull up your loop and oh, isn't it cute? So now you can get your stuffing. You can get some stuffing and your scissors. Let me just zoom out for this part. Okay, so you just want to grab some stuffing and your little head that you're going to be stuffing, and then just lay the stuffing on top of the head and then just push with your scissors into the head. I think I may need to invest in like a different type of glue for these safety R's, especially for the flat ones, because I really do not want these safety R's to come off at any given time. Okay, so you just want to stuff your head. I think I'm going to put a little bit more in there. Okay, so that is what our little head is looking like now. Let me just zoom back in again. Okay, so now moving on to the next round, what we're going to do is we're going to decrease into each stitch around. So this is where it gets a little bit fiddly, so you'll remove your stitch marker, and I like to just poke my finger into the head like that so that I don't pick up any of the stitches. So you're going to go into the front loops of the next stitch. Oopsie, let's do it again. Insert into the front loops of the next stitch, yarn over, pull through. Come on now. There we go. That took a while. Okay, so basically we'll be decreasing into each stitch around. Okay, so this part does really get tricky. Okay, and your stitch count by the end of this round should have gone back from 12 down to 6. Okay, so now if we're happy with that, which I am, just going to remove the stitch marker and I'm going to slip stitch to the first stitch. So to slip stitch, you just insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull through, and then pull the first loop through the second loop. Oopsie, I split my yarn. Let's do that again. So it's insert into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through. We'll have 2 loops on your hook, and then pull the first loop through the second loop, like that. Okay. And then what you'd want to do is you want to grab your scissors. You can leave a little bit of a tail end. You don't need too much of a tail end, so maybe like that much. You don't need that much of a tail end. And then you're just going to, after you've snipped your yarn, you're just going to pull that up. Okay. And if you want to, you can maybe stuff your head a little bit more if you feel like you need to. I think I'm just going to push a little bit more in here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are now going to take our tapestry needle and our tail end that we left, and now what we're going to do is we are essentially just going to do like a big kind of like decrease. So what we're going to do is we are just going to insert our needle into the front loop of the next stitch, pull through, insert your needle into the front loop of the next stitch, pull through, insert your needle into the front loop of the next stitch, pull through, insert your needle into the front loop of the next stitch, pull through, insert your needle into the front loop of the next stitch, pull through, insert your needle into the front loop of the next stitch, pull through, and then one more, insert your needle through the front loop of the next stitch and pull through. Okay, so that's what it should be looking like now, and then we can just pull on our tail end and it should cinch up the bottom closed. And then what I like to do is I like to just insert my needle into the center of those stitches and come out somewhere on the head and pull that tail end a bit tight, and then you'll just want to weave in your tail end. So then insert your needle into the same stitch you came out of and out somewhere else on the head. Okay, and again insert your needle into the stitch that you came out of and out somewhere else on the head. Again insert your needle into the same stitch you came out of and out somewhere else on the head. Insert your needle into the same stitch you came out of and out somewhere else on the head. Insert your needle into the same stitch you came out of and out somewhere else on the head. You just repeat that a few times until you're happy with the amount of times you've sewn it in, and then when you're ready you can just take your scissors and snip off that tail end. Okay, so that is what the head looks like, and now it is time to do the body. Okay, so now moving on to the body, we are again going to take our silver grey yarn and our 2mm crochet hook, and we're going to make another magic ring. So again, it is wrap your yarn over your finger once, twice, and then the third time cross over to form your magic ring, and then you're just going to grab your tail end, sorry, to form an X. I don't know why I said to form a tail end, but anyway, to form an X, and then as I said, you'll hold your tail end with your pinky. So you'll insert your hook underneath the first two loops, and then you'll yarn over and then pull that yarn through those two loops, and then you'll yarn over and do a chain one just to secure that magic ring, and then you can pull your magic ring off your fingers. Okay, so now we'll basically be doing like the same sort of thing, but just the row count will be just different, if that makes any sense. Okay, so again we'll be placing 6 single crochets into the magic ring. So it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, that's 5 and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Okay, again we're going to pull on our tail end, see which one closes up first, which is this one on the top, and then pull this down towards you. Come on, there we go, pull this down towards you, and then that other tail end would cinch in, and then take your tail end and pull that little loop closed. Okay, so now we are going to increase in each stitch around. Okay, so again our stitch count should have gone up from 6 up to 12. Okay, and then we will increase into each stitch around. So again, an increase is 1 single crochet into each stitch around. Okay, and again your stitch count should have gone up from 6 up to 12. So just to make sure, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay. So moving on to the next round, we're going to place 1 single crochet into the next stitch and then an increase. Okay, so that's 1, whoopsie, 1 and then an increase, and then 1 single crochet, and then an increase, 1 single crochet, and an increase. And your stitch count should have gone up from 12 up to 18. Okay, so that's an increase, and then 1 single crochet, and then an increase, and then 1 single crochet, and then an increase, and then 1 single crochet and an increase. Whoops. Okay, and your stitch count should have gone up from 18. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Okay. So for the next round, we're going to place 1 single crochet into the back loops only in each stitch around. So the back loops only is what I've mentioned before. So you have the front loop, which is closest to you, and then the back loop, which is furthest away from you. So you're going to poke your needle into the middle of that V stitch and out through the back. And then you're going to do your single crochet as normal. Okay, then you'll place your stitch marker back into that first stitch. And again, into each stitch around, you're just going to place 1 single crochet into the back loops only. Again, you're going to poke your hook into the middle of that V stitch and out towards the back. And you'll do your single crochet stitches. So again, insert your hook into the middle of that V stitch and out through to the back. Okay, so you just repeat that all the way around. You're not increasing nor decreasing, just placing 1 single crochet into the back loops only of each stitch around. And your stitch count should have stayed the same as 18 stitches. Okay, and essentially what this will do is it will like force the bottom of this of the elephant to sit flat. I'll show you now what I mean. Let me just finish this round. Okay, so now as you can see there, now this round that we just did is now like standing up, while this other side is like facing, or is like flat, I should say, if it makes any sense like that. Okay, so now for the next 5 rounds, for the next 5 rounds, we'll be placing 1 single crochet into each stitch around, and we'll go into the stitch as normal under both of the front and back loops. Okay, so you just continue placing 1 single crochet into each stitch around for the next 5 rounds, and then I'll come back and we'll go on to round 10 together. Okay. And again, your stitch count should have remained the same as 18 single crochets. Okay, So you can go off and complete a total of 5 rounds of just 1 single crochet in each stitch around, no increasing, no decreasing, and you should have a total of 9 rounds by the time we are finished with those 5. Okay, so now I am back and I've completed my total of 5 rounds, no increasing or decreasing, and I have 9 rounds in total. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so moving on to the next round, we are now going to decrease this round. So we're going to place 1 single crochet into the first stitch, and then decrease the next 2 stitches. Decrease the next 2 stitches. Come on, there we go. 1 single crochet into the next stitch, decrease, and then 1 single crochet into the next stitch, and then a decrease, and then 1 single crochet into the next stitch, and then a decrease. And your stitch count should have gone down from 18 down to 12 by the end of this round. 1 single crochet into the next stitch, and then a decrease, 1 single crochet into the next stitch, and then a decrease. Okay, so now that is what it should be looking like now. So now we can end off, so we can remove our stitch marker, we can slip stitch into the next stitch. So again, it is insert into that stitch, yarn over, pull through, and then pull the first loop, and then pull the first loop into the second loop, like that. Okay, and then we can grab our scissors. You'd want to leave a little bit of a tail because we will be sewing the body to the head. So you don't need too long of a tail. I think I may have cut myself a too long of a tail, but it's fine. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to stuff our body. So again, we're just going to grab some stuffing and our pair of scissors, and then you can just stuff the body. So again, I'm just placing my stuffing over my body and I'm pushing down with my scissors. Okay, it doesn't need to be stuffed too much, but I do want to make sure that I'm getting every like little nook and cranny. Okay. Okay. I think I'm fine with that. So now that's basically what it looks like. Okay, so now we are going to sew the body onto the head, and then we'll continue crocheting the rest of the body. I just feel like it's easier to sew the head to the body, or the body onto the head, and then from there make everything else and sew everything onto the elephant. Okay, so what I'm going to do, let me just zoom in a bit. So I'm just going to place the body onto the head like that and just kind of see where I kind of want. Okay, so I have moved my what would you call it, where it ended off the body is going to be at the back of the head, like that. So I am just going to, so wherever my body is touching the head, I'm just going to go into the head and come out into the next stitch like that, and then pull that through. Then I'm going to go into the stitch on the body and out into the next stitch, and then again you would sew up into the body, sorry, into the head, but into the next stitch across, and come out the other side like that. Then again sew down into the body, going over a stitch, and then coming out the other side. Again sew up into the head, going over one stitch than where we were before, come out the other side, and then go into the next stitch on the body and out the next stitch. Again insert your needle into the next stitch of the head and out on the other side. Oops, I'm out of focus. Okay, and then again insert your needle into the next stitch on the body and then out the other side. Come on, there we go. Out the other side. Then again insert your needle into the next stitch of the head and out the other side. Insert into the body and out the other side. And you'll just repeat this until you are happy with how the head is sewn on. Okay. Okay, so that is what it should be looking like now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sew down into the body, come out into another stitch, and then again insert your needle into the same stitch you came out of and out somewhere else. But I'm going to go into the head and then out into a stitch of the head and then come out again and insert my needle into the same stitch you came out of and then poke my needle through the head and the body and come out of a stitch in the body and pull that through. And you just want to repeat this a few times just so that you can secure the head to the body. Okay, so now once you have finished sewing your head onto the body, you can just take your scissors and snip off that tail end. Okay, so that is what our little elephant should be looking like now with the head and the body. Okay, so now we can move on to the legs. So now for the legs, we are going to make two. So what we're going to do is we're going to make our magic ring. So again, it is yarn over once, twice, and then the third time you're going to cross over to form an X. Then again, you're going to take your hook, you're going to insert under those two loops. You're going to yarn over and pull through those two loops. Then you're going to yarn over and do a chain one basically to secure. And then you're going to pull your magic ring off your fingers. And then you're going to do 6 single crochets into this magic ring. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, that's right. And then again, you're just going to take your tail end, pull it in, and then you'll see which tail end is closing in. So in this case, it's this one. Okay, so you just want to pull that in, and then take your tail end and pull your tail end to cinch that in. So for the next round, we're going to increase into each stitch around. So our stitch count should have gone up from 6 up to 12. Okay, so you'll just place 2 single crochets into each stitch around. Okay, so that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, so again, 12 stitches by the end of that round. Moving on to the next round, we're going to place 1 single crochet into each back loop only. So again, you're going to insert your needle through the middle of that V stitch and out through to the back. Then you're going to do your single crochet as normal. Insert your stitch marker back in, and then again, you're just going to place 1 single crochet into the back loops only of each stitch around, keeping the same stitch count of 12. So again, you're going to insert your hook into the middle of that V stitch and out towards the back. Okay. So you'll just repeat that around, and your stitch count should have remained the same as 12 stitches. Okay, so that is what it looks like by the end of that round. Okay, so now for the next 2 rounds, we're going to place 1 single crochet into each stitch around, and again we'll be going to the stitch as normal, going under both of those front and back loops. And your stitch count should have remained the same as 12. Okay, so now I just need to do 1 more round. Okay, and then place your stitch marker back. Oops. Okay, so now after you've completed the next 2 rounds, this is what it should be looking like now. Okay, so now we're going to do a decrease round. So now we are going to decrease into each stitch around, and our stitch count should have gone down from 12 down to 6. Okay, so again, it is just decrease around, going in through the front loops of the next 2 stitches, and then doing your single crochet as normal. So that is what our little foot is looking like. Okay, so now we can end off. So we can remove our stitch marker, slip stitch into the next stitch. So we're going to insert, yarn over, pull through, and then pull the first loop through the loop on our hook. Okay, and then we can take our scissors, leave a bit of a tail for sewing. You don't need too much of a tail, but just enough to sew on the leg, and then you just want to pull up and out. Okay, and again we're just going to stuff our little leg a little bit. So again, place your stuffing over and then just push your stuffing into the leg. Oops, sorry. Okay, there we go. Okay, so my little leg needs a little bit more stuffing. Okay, so that is what our little leg should be looking like now after it's been stuffed. So now you can go ahead and you can make your second one exactly like this, and then I'll come back and I'll show you how we will make the arms, which is very similar but different to the legs. Okay, so you can go off and do your second leg, and I'll come back and I'll show you how we will do the arms. Okay, so I have finished making both of the legs now. So now it is time to start the arms. So for the arms, what you would do is you would grab your yarn, which I'm having a problem with. So you'd grab your yarn, and you would take your yarn and you would create a magic ring again. So let me just zoom in. Okay, so you would create a magic ring. So you would wrap your yarn around your finger once, twice, and then a third time you would cross over. So you would insert underneath the first two loops, yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over and do a chain one to secure your magic ring. Then you can pull it off your fingers. And now we are going to place 6 single crochets into the magic ring. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then what you'd want to do is you'd want to pull in your tail end again until you see that one loop cinches in, and then you'd grab that loop and pull it down towards you, and then it closes up that other hole or that other ring, and then you'll take your tail end and pull that in. Okay, so for this next round we're going to place 1 single crochet, then an increase into the next stitch. So again, it's 1 single crochet into the first stitch, and then you'll place your stitch marker back, and then you'll place an increase into the next stitch, and then 1 single crochet into the next stitch, and then an increase, and then 1 single crochet into the next stitch, and then an increase into the last stitch. And your stitch count should have gone up from 6 to 9 by the end of that round. Okay, so that's what it looks like now. Let me just zoom in a bit more. Okay, so moving on to the next round, we are now going to place 1 single crochet into the back loops only all the way around. Alright, and excuse the change of hook. The shaft of my hook has been turning, and when I worked on a previous order to make glow-in-the-dark ghosts, my customer had sent me yarn, glow-in-the-dark yarn, and that yarn was just so stiff. I actually still have some of this yarn here. Like, it looks soft, but when working with it, it became so stiff. So I really battled to work my decreases and things like that, and I eventually pulled the shaft out of my handle. So yeah, I have fun. I've glued it a few times with like contact adhesive, but for some odd reason it is still like coming out. So yeah, I need to fix that. So yeah, please ignore the change of hook. Okay, so yeah, we are going to place 1 single crochet into the back loops only of each stitch around, and our stitch count should have remained the same as 9 stitches. Oops. Okay, I feel like it's easier to push your work out like this. Makes it a little bit more easier to work with it. So you're just going to place 1 single crochet into the back loops only of each stitch around. Sorry, for this one I actually didn't go into the back loop. So go into the back loop of each stitch around. Okay, and then for this next round we are just going to place 1 single crochet into each stitch around. Okay, so you're going to go into the stitch as normal, and then you're just going to place 1 single crochet into each stitch around. Okay, so you're just going to place 1 single crochet in each stitch around, and your stitch count should have remained the same as 9 single crochets. Okay, so now that's what it should be looking like now. And now for this last round, what we're going to do is we're now going to decrease. So you're going to place 1 single crochet into the first stitch. We're going to place 1 single crochet into the first stitch, and then place our stitch marker back, and then do a decrease into the next stitch. Yeah, so then we'll decrease the next 2 stitches together, and then 1 single crochet into the next stitch, and then a decrease into the next, and our stitch count should have gone back down from 9 down to 6. Again, it's 1 single crochet and then a decrease. I think I did something wrong here. Oh, I skipped a stitch by mistake. I skipped a stitch. Okay, and then you'll decrease again the last 2 stitches together. Okay, so that's what it looks like now. And then you can grab your scissors and you can snip your yarn, leaving a bit of a tail to sew in, to sew your leg, sew your arm onto the body, and then you just want to slip stitch into the next stitch and then pull up. Okay, and now we can stuff our little arm so you can get some stuffing. And then again, just place your stuffing over the arm and then just gently stuff the arm. Oops. Okay, there we go. So now that is our one arm complete, and now you can look at it in comparison to the leg. So it's kind of bigger. Well, the arm is, sorry, the leg is bigger, the arm is a bit smaller. Yeah, so so yeah, now you can go off. You can repeat the same steps to make the second arm, and then I'll come back and I'll show you how to make the ears. Okay. Okay, so now I've come back and I've completed the two arms, and now it is time to start with the ears. So what you'd want to do is you'd want to grab your yarn. So now we'll be starting differently now. So what we'll be doing is we'll be making a chain. So you're going to take your yarn, you're going to wrap your yarn around your finger once, and then when you cross over the second time, you're going to cross over like that to form an X. And then the same process, you're going to insert under the first loop, then you're going to yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over and do a chain one. Sorry, that's not what we're going to do. So again, you have formed your X, then you're going to go under the first loop, pick up the second loop, then you're going to yarn over, pull through, then you're going to take your magic ring, or not your magic ring, your slip knot off your fingers, and then you're just going to pull that tight like that. Okay, and then we're going to chain 6. So to chain, you're just going to yarn over and pull through the loop on your hook, yarn over and pull through the loop on your hook, yarn over and pull through the loop on your hook. So I have 3, 4, 5 and 6. So then what we're going to do is we're going to turn our chain over to our back bumps, which you can see there we have like back bumps of our chains. I don't know if that makes much sense. So we won't go into this first chain that's closest to the hook, we'll go into the second one. So I'll go into the back bump over there like that. So I'll go into the back bump, and then you're going to do 2 single crochets in there. So it's 1 going to the same stitch, 2, and then you'll place 1 single crochet into the next 3 chains. So that's 1, 2 and 3, and then into this last chain we are going to place 3 single crochets in there. Okay, so we'll place 3 single crochets into the last chain. So that's 1, 2 and 3. Okay, and now as you can see, we the direction of our work has changed, and we're now going to work back into these chains here on the side. So we're going to skip this first chain here where this little hole is there. We will skip that chain and we'll go straight into the next one, which is this one here. So there's our slip knot, or our first chain, and then there is our next stitch over there. Okay, so you'll go into there and then you'll place 1 single crochet into the next 3 stitches. So that's 1, 2 and 3, and then we'll insert our, then we'll place 1 single crochet into the first chain that we did, where we did our first 2 single crochets into, which is this one here. So whoopsie, we originally did 2 single crochets into that first chain, and we're going to do another one in there. So we essentially have 3 single crochets into that last chain and 3 single crochets into this chain on this side. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go into the next stitch and place 3 single crochets in there. So that's 1, 2 and 3. And then you'd want to grab your stitch marker and place your stitch marker into the first of those 3 stitches that we made, which is this one here on the far right. Okay, and then you'll place 1 single crochet into the next 5 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And then into the next stitch we'll place 3 single crochets into that next stitch. So that's 1, 2 and 3, all in the same space. And then again, we're going to place 1 single crochet into the next 5. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now we are back at our stitch marker. And then we will remove our stitch marker. Then we'll place 1 single crochet into the first stitch. Place our stitch marker back. And then we'll place 3 single crochets into the next one. 1, 2, 3. And then we'll place 1 single crochet into the next 7 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then we will place 3 single crochets into the next into the next stitch again. So again, that is 1, 2, 3. And then we'll place 1 single crochet into the remaining 6 stitches, if I'm not mistaken. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yes, that's correct, because the one that we did at the beginning forms the 7 stitches for this side. Okay, so now what we are going to do is we are now going to place 1 single crochet into each stitch around for the next 5 rounds. So basically we will stop on our 8th round. So we are just going to place 1 single crochet into each stitch around until you get back to the beginning. And you'll keep the same stitch count. Sorry, I actually didn't mention the stitch counts. So by the end of the first round, so that is going around both sides of the chain, you should have 13 stitches. And then the second round, you should have 16. And then the third round, which we just did, you should have 20 stitches, if I'm not mistaken. No, I think it's 19. You'll have 19 stitches by the end of that round. So you will just continue placing 1 single crochet in each stitch around, and you should have kept the same stitch count as 19. Okay, so you can repeat this all the way around for the next 5 rounds, and we'll come back when you have a total of 8 rounds completed. Okay, so now I am back and I have finished crocheting my ear. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove my stitch marker, and then I am going to slip stitch into the next stitch. So again, it is insert, yarn over, pull through, and then pull that loop through this loop on your hook, and then pull up. And yeah, I literally just ran out of yarn. I literally just had enough to make all of my parts, excluding the trunk and the tail. So yeah, okay, so now you can go off and repeat the same process for the second ear, and I will come back and I will show you how to do the trunk and the tail and then the bow. Okay, and also what I'm going to be doing for this case, since I don't have enough to sew on my tail end, I'm going to weave in this tail end, and then I am going to attach a new strand of yarn that will be long enough to sew the ear onto the body, onto the head. Okay, so you can go off and make your second ear, and I'll come back and I'll show you how to make the trunk and the tail. Okay, so now I have made both of my ears now, and now it is time to do the trunk. So we can put our ears aside, and you just want to grab your yarn And to do the trunk, you just want to take your yarn, and then you'd want to create a magic ring. So you're going to wrap your yarn around your finger once, twice, and then the third time you're going to cross over to form an X. Okay, and then you're going to insert under the 2 loops, yarn over and pull through, and then do a chain 1 just to secure that the magic ring. And then we are going to place 6 single crochets into this magic ring. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then we're going to take our tail end and pull that in. Again, pull out the one that was cinched in, and then pull in your tail end to close up that magic ring. Okay, and then for rounds 2 to 6, so for the next 5 rounds, we will just place 1 single crochet into each stitch around. Whoopsie. Into each stitch around. We will not increase and we will not decrease. We will just put 1 single crochet into each stitch around. Okay. So again, it's 1 single crochet in each stitch around for the next 5 rounds. And you should have kept the same stitch count as 6, because again, we are not increasing nor decreasing. We are just placing 1 single crochet into each stitch around. Okay, so you carry on with that, and I'll meet back up with you when we are ready to move on to round 7. So again, you will stop at round 6. Okay, so now I am back and I've finished crocheting all of my 6 rounds in total. So if we count, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so now moving on to the next round, we are going to increase. So we're going to place 1 single crochet into the first stitch and then place the stitch marker back, and then an increase into the next stitch. Okay, so again, an increase into the next stitch, and then 1 single crochet into the next stitch, and then an increase, and then 1 single crochet into the next stitch, and then an increase into the last stitch. Okay, and then we'll place 1 single crochet into each stitch around for the next round, and after increasing the previous round, we should have 9 stitches. So for this last round, we'll just place 1 single crochet into each stitch around, and we should keep the same stitch count as 9. Okay, so you just want to place 1 single crochet in each stitch around until you get back to the beginning. Okay, last stitch now. Okay, and then you'll remove your stitch marker, and then we'll slip stitch to the beginning stitch. So again, a slip stitch is insert, yarn over, pull through, and then pull the first loop through the second loop. Okay, and then you can take your yarn, leave a bit of a tail, and snip that, and then just pull that through. Okay, so there is our little trunk. This is what it should be looking like now. So what we're going to do is we're just going to stuff the tip of the trunk just a little bit, just to give it some form. So just going to push just a little bit in, like that, kind of like that. Maybe if you want to, no, I think that's fine. And then we're going to pinch like the center of the nose there, and then we're going to stuff the top. So again, taking just a little bit of the stuffing and then just stuff that in. Like that. And again, you just want to pinch in between the bottom and the top part of the nose, like that. So essentially the bottom and the top will be stuffed. And then the little gap in between, there will be no stuffing there. And then when we sew the nose on, we'll also just catch, what would you call it, like the bottom of the trunk to like the top portion, so it curls in like that. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little bit more stuffing in here. Okay, I think that is all right. And then I'm just going to push in this last remaining bit of stuffing over here. Okay, so again, that is what it should be looking like now. Okay, so now we can put our trunk aside. And now we are going to do the tail. So now for the tail, we are going to leave a long tail at the beginning to sew our tail on. Okay, so leave about, maybe I would say 30 centimeters maybe. And then we are going to create a slip knot. So to do your slip knot, you're just going to wrap the yarn around your finger once, and then twice you'll cross over to form an X. Okay, then the same thing, you'll go under the first loop, pick up the second loop, and then take your tail end and your working yarn and pull that tight. Okay, so there is our long tail end. And then what we are going to do is we are going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And what we're going to do, now we can snip this tail end very short because we do not need such a long tail end, so you can snip it maybe even there. So this is only like maybe 2 centimeters long, and then you'll just pick up your hook up and out of that stitch, and then you'll pull your tail end tight to secure the last chain. Okay, so that is what our tail is looking like. So with the long tail that we left at the start, that will be our tail end to sew the tail onto the body. And then this little bit here we will cut short, and we will like pull the stitches apart, not the stitches, the yarn apart like that, so it creates like a nice like little brush out tail like that. Okay, so we can, if you want to, just snip that short now, so it looks like that. Okay, so that is our tail. Now the last thing that we need to do before we can sew everything together, well, you don't have to, you can leave the bow for very last minute if you want to. Okay, so now I'm moving on to the bow. What we're going to do is we're going to make a magic ring. So again, to do that, you're going to wrap your yarn around your finger once, twice, and then cross over for the 3rd time. And then you're going to again insert your hook under the first 2 loops, yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over and do a chain 1. Then you can pull the magic ring off your fingers, and then you can do an additional 2 more chains, 1 and 2. And then we're going to place 5 double crochets into this magic ring. So double crochet is yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. Again is yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. That's 3. Insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then again we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Then we're going to slip stitch into the magic ring. So we're going to insert, yarn over, pull through, and then pull through the loop on your hook, chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, 5 double crochets again. So it's yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. Yeah, so that's 3, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, one more. Again, we're going to yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. Chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and then we'll slip stitch into the center again. Okay, and then what you'd want to do is you just want to, I think we can actually just end off this yarn. Okay, so you're going to take your scissors and you're going to leave quite a bit of a tail to sew the bow on, and then you're just going to snip that. Then you're going to yarn over and pull through, basically doing a chain 1 and then pull up. Okay, so now we can close our magic ring, so we can take our yarn and see which one goes in, which is this one over here. Okay, and then you just want to pull on that one that was cinched in to pull in that other loop. Okay, and then pull on your tail end to cinch that in. Okay, and then what you'd want to do with your long tail, you just want to wrap it around the bow a few times. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'd say about 5 times is good. And then I like to just tie these strands into a knot at the back. So I'm just tied this in a bow. Okay, so now, sorry, not in a bow, in a knot. Okay, so that is our little bow complete, and now we can start sewing everything together. Okay, so now we can start bringing all of our components into the picture. So we will start off with the legs, so you just want to grab the legs, and then your darning needle, and then you just want to thread your darning needle. Okay, let's get the other one out the way for now. Okay, so now I'm bringing in our body, so you kind of want to place the leg kind of like this, like to the right of, or like just next to the eyes, if that makes any sense. So if you think of it like that, like there, like that's kind of where it should be. So again, with the same concept with how we had sewn the body onto the head, we're just going to go insert into the body, come out through the next stitch, and then insert your needle into the leg. Oops, there we go. Okay, and then you're going to go back into the body. If you want to, you can place pins. You can like pin this down in place. So I have some pins here, like just as an example. So you can insert pins to kind of where you want the feet to sit. So yeah, like that. You can insert pins. I kind of like, whoopsie, sorry, I kind of like secure it in place. Yeah, so again, I'm just gonna sew into the leg. And then into the body. Okay, and then into the leg again. Like that. And then again into the body. Okay, like that. Okay. And now for like this back part of the leg, I like to start now like sewing like one row down from the leg so that it can like, I don't know how to put it, so that it looks much neater and like it's more secured onto the body, I suppose. Okay. Okay, I think I need to sew the side of the leg down a bit more, so I'm just gonna come out of the stitch here. Oh, come on. So over there, and then I am just going to catch that stitch there. And come out somewhere else on the body. Okay, like that. So now it like secures the leg down in place, and then you just want to pull it tight. Obviously not too tight where you'd break your yarn, but you just want to pull that a bit tight so that the leg cinches close to the body. And then you just want to weave in your tail end a few times into the body just to secure it. Again, weaving your needle in through the stitch you came out of and out somewhere else on the elephant. Again, insert your needle into a stitch you came out of and out somewhere else on the elephant. Into the stitch you came out of and out somewhere else on the elephant. Oops. Okay, insert your needle into the next stitch. Sorry, not into the next stitch, into the same stitch you came out of and out somewhere else on the body. Okay, so you just want to do this a few times. Until you are comfortable with the amount of times you've sewn this in. Okay, and then once you're happy, you can take your scissors and you can snip off that tail end, and then we can sew on the other leg the same way. So again, you want to sew it kind of like there, kind of thing, like that. So yeah, I am just gonna kind of like okay, so I'm kind of happy with that being like about there. Okay, so I'm just going to sew that down there, and then into the stitch on the leg, and then into the stitch on the body, into the stitch of the leg, and then into the stitch of the body, into the stitch of the leg, into the body, okay, and then into the leg again, okay. And again, I am just going to secure like the front bit of the leg to the body. So I'm just going to come out about there where I previously sewed, and then I'm just going to go down a few stitches, well, not a few stitches, like one row down, sew there, and then sew back down into the body, and then that should, when you pull it, it should kind of bring the leg into the body, kind of thing, like that. And then I'm just gonna sew back into the leg, and then sew into the body, okay. And then once you're happy, you can just sew in your tail end like how we have done before, with going in one stitch and out another stitch on the body. Okay, so you'll just do this a few times. Oopsie. Just to secure in your tail end. Okay, so I think that's sewn in enough. So again, I'm just going to take my scissors and snip close to the work, but obviously not cutting into the work. So that is what our little Ellie should be looking like now. Okay, now we're going to grab our arms that we made. So I'm just going to grab those and bring those into the picture. So I'm just going to grab one arm here, and then thread up my darning needle. So I'm going to thread up my darning needle. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to sew on our arm, like pretty close to the head. So I like to just kind of like move the head out to one side like that, and kind of sew in like that, if that makes any sense. Okay, and then again you would go sew into the arm, and then into the body. Okay, I think I actually sewed down into the wrong place, so I'm going to go this way. Okay. And then you just want to move like the leg out of the way as well, just to make it easier for you. And then you just want to sew down into the body and then into the arm again. Okay. So I just want to secure like the arm to like the head kind of thing. So I'm just gonna sew there. Okay, and then I think I'm gonna go back just behind the arm, so like there. So let me go one stitch in, and then I'm gonna sew the arm down again, going one row below. Sorry, I keep bumping the camera. Okay. And then insert your needle back in so we can secure the arm in place. Oopsie. Our little elephant's head is looking a bit squished, isn't it? Okay, so again you would just sew in your tail end, same as before. Crocheting this, well, this elephant does normally take quite quick, but it is definitely longer than like all of my keychains that I've made. But recording this elephant is just taking so long. Normally I would be done recording within like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, but I think literally from like 2:30 I have been recording this tutorial, and it is now 6:15 in the evening now, so it's like yeah, it's really taking some time. But yeah, I think our elephant is going to come out quite cute. Okay. Okay, so I've sewn in my tail end enough. So again, you just want to grab your second arm now, and you'd want to do the same. So again, just like above where the leg is now, you just want to sew into the body, or just underneath the head, then again into the arm, and then come out maybe there, and then go back into the arm, and then go back into the body, and then into the arm, and then into the body, And then again, I'm just going to go one row below and just catch those stitches there. And then sew back down into the body and then sew out the other side. Okay, so again I'm gonna sew or secure the arm to like the head kind of thing. Okay, I'm just gonna sew down my arm again, so I'm just gonna come out there and then just catch the arm down. Like that. Okay. Then again, you're just gonna weave in your tail end the same way that we have been doing. Again, just a few times just to secure the tail end in place. Okay, when you're happy, again, you'll just snip your yarn. Okay, so that is what our little Ellie should be looking like now. Okay, so now we need to just sew on his ears, the trunk, and then the tail, and then the bow. Okay, so let's get our ears. Okay, so again, you just want to thread your darning needle or your tapestry needle. Okay, but what we're going to do before we sew it on is, as you can see, our yarn is kind of like in the middle of the ear, which you don't want it to be. So what we're going to do is we're just going to sew into, well, not into, underneath some of these stitches here, just to get to the corner. Like that. So again, just maybe sew over another 1 or 2 more stitches. Okay, so now it's in the corner. Okay, so now we can, so I kind of want my ears to be curled, so let me actually do it this way because I feel like it's easier sewing the ears on with the yarn at the top of the ears than down at the bottom. Okay, so I kind of want my ear like that, so I'm just going to kind of eyeball where I need to sew my first stitch, which is like over here. So I'm just going to sew there, and then I'm going to sew into into the ear like that, and then into the next stitch like that. And I like to keep my ear curved like that, like I really want it to sit curved. So I am going to follow like the contour of the ear, if that makes any sense. So I'm just gonna keep placing my ear where I want it to, so like there, and then I'm just going to again insert my needle into the ear and then back into the body. So yeah, you just want to keep curling up your ear and finding where you want your next stitch to be, or where you want it to be sewn to. So yeah, I found this really helps. So again, I'm just going to sew into the ear. Okay. So now this might get a little bit tricky with the arm in the way. Yeah, so I'm just going to follow again the contours of the ear, or the shape of the ear. Okay, so now I'm coming up to the side here now, or the bottom. So I'm just going to sew into the ear. Okay, so I'm going to sew down over. So I want the bottom of my ear to be lined up with the top, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to come down to like about here. I know it's kind of hard to see, but yeah. And then what I like to do is I like to push in the ear, and then I kind of like to see where this back portion is sitting, and sew the back part of the ear based on where this side is touching. So I'm not going to sew like close here, like where we sewed the front part of the ear in. I'm going to literally let the ear rest in like kind of like the position that I want it to. So like there, and then I want to sew the ear down based on that, again like the curve from the ear. Okay, so again I'm just going to follow the curve of the ear, going in and out of the stitches on the ear, and then on the head. Okay, so we are nearly done with this one ear. Okay. Okay, so that is what the ear should be looking like now. Okay, so I'm happy with the way that ear looks. So again, I'm just gonna sew in my tail end. Excuse me. Like how we have been doing before. So just threading it in and out of our work. Again, inserting the needle into the same stitch it came out of and coming out somewhere else on the body. Okay, so we are nearly done. Okay, once you put the trunk on, everything will literally come into place now. If that makes any sense, like it will, once you put the trunk on, it will literally look like an elephant. Okay, oops. So yeah, I really thought of doing a lot more like intricate designs, because some of my other keychains, they are quite basic, and yes, there's nothing wrong with basic, but sometimes you want like a nice intricate kind of keychain, you know, that's really interesting. So I thought this elephant would be a great one to start. I still want to do a giraffe, panda, and yeah, so far those are the ones that I still want to do. But yeah, I haven't designed any other intricate patterns yet. Well, I have designed bird patterns. I've designed a kingfisher bird, and there was, I think it was an African pygmy, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken. But that was an order, and I shipped it off already. So I mean, I don't know, I suppose I can do a tutorial for that too. That's only if you guys are interested though. So if you guys do want to see a bird tutorial of some sort, then wouldn't mind designing it. So yeah. Okay, so that is our one ear done, and now we just need to do the other one. Okay, so this is now the ear that that I made too short. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to sew down into the ear. So I'm just going to sew under some of these stitches here. Yeah, and I'm just going to sew in this tail end underneath a few of my stitches, and then I will reattach my yarn. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave this tail end in my elephant. So I think I'm actually just going to grab my crochet hook and insert my crochet hook through the top, and then come out of the one stitch that my yarn is near, and then just kind of like pull that through. And then I am just going to just keep that inside there, I think. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab some yarn. Where's my tail end? Here. Okay, so I'm just going to grab some yarn that is enough to sew on. I hope this will be enough to sew on the ear. So I'm just going to join my yarn in the corner here, and I am just going to tie this into a knot. Okay, I think that is fine. And then again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my ear, and I am going to sew my ear on. So I just want to see where I want my ear to sit. Okay, so I'm going to see where I want my ear to sit. So just gonna eyeball. Okay, so I think just gonna sew one stitch over. Like that. Okay, so now I'm just gonna eyeball kind of where I want this next ear to sit. Okay, so it looks like it is about here. So I'm just going to insert my needle and come out. Okay, so again I'm going to try and keep my needle I don't know why I sewed back down that way. I wanted to go this side. Okay, but it's fine. So I'm going to sew down into the head. Okay, so I've just tucked this like tail end that my small tail end that I left at the beginning into the ear. Okay, so again I'm just going to follow like the same kind of contour that I left for the other ear kind of thing. So gonna sew down there. And then sew back into the ear. And then sew down again into the body. Okay, so you just kind of sew on the ear the same way that we have done already for the other side. I feel like this bottom part of the ear should be more in like that, so I'm just going to change that. So I'm going to go back, gonna maybe come out over there, and then I'm going to catch the bottom of the ear again. Oops. And then I'm going to sew back down to the head and then come out there. And then again I want my ear to kind of like, oops, to kind of like relax. and then I kind of want to see where I want my ear to be sewn to like anchor it down in place. Okay, so I think I'm happy with that, the way that looks. I feel like, I don't know, but the top of the ear like it just doesn't look the same as the other side, so I'm gonna try and fix that now. Okay, so I think I'm just gonna leave it like that, but that is what our little elephant is looking like so far. Looks like his head is twisted, like it's turned one side. Okay, so I'm just gonna weave on my tail end the same way I have been doing. Okay, so I feel like I have sewn that in enough, so now I'm just gonna take my scissors and snip off my tail end. Okay, so our little elephant is taking shape. Now the only thing that we need to do now is just sew on the trunk, the tail, and then the little bow. Okay, so let's get our trunk. I'm sorry that I keep bumping the camera, I really don't mean to. My little cell phone stand that I have here doesn't really have such a long arm. So yeah, my apologies for that. So I'm just gonna stuff, or just push the stuffing in a little bit more. Okay, so I am going to sew the trunk in the middle of the face, so like about about 2 rows down. Okay, so my tail end is kind of like at the bottom there. Kind of would help if I know where my tail end is actually at. So it's like at the bottom. Okay, so I'm gonna sew into the body and into the next stitch. Okay, so I'm going to sew back into the trunk and then into the head and then back on into the trunk. And then into the head. Okay, back into the trunk. And then into the head. Okay, so I'm going to sew down to the head. Okay, and then what I like to do is I like to catch the bottom of the trunk down. So I like to catch the bottom of the trunk, so I've gone up like two rows, and I'm going to catch it down to, I've caught it to like one row below where I started sewing the trunk down. Okay, so as you can see, that kind of like anchors it down, sort of. I think I should have sewn the trunk a little bit higher up, but it is fine. Okay, so I think I'm gonna insert my needle, come out over here to the left of the trunk, and then I'm just gonna sew this trunk down to the row of stitches above where I originally sewed. Hopefully this will look better. Okay, so now what are we going to do now is I think I'm going to anchor my trunk down a little bit more again. So I'm going to come out one row below where my trunk has been sewn to, and then I'm just going to catch the bottom of that trunk, and I'm going to go into like 2 stitches off from where I previously sewed into to anchor the nose down like that. And then what I like to do is I like to just insert my needle, and now I'm going to go into the actual trunk, so if I can get in there. And then I like to come out like in the 3rd round of the trunk. Now what I like to do is I like to just catch. So I'm going to skip 1 round and then go up into the next round. And then I'm going to sew down back into the trunk and back into the head. And if we pull tight, that should cinch up the nose like that. So now we've got a little curly trunk. Okay. For some reason, this elephant and the trunk just looks different to other elephants that I've made. I'm not sure why. I don't know if it's because maybe I sewed the top of the trunk like here, like just underneath the eyes. I am not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure why, but it's kind of looking weird. Okay, but anyways, I'll just ignore that for now. So I'm just going to sew in my tail end the same way that we have been doing. Yeah, so I think that is sewn in enough. So now what we can do now is just trim our tail end. Okay, so we can take our scissors and snip it off. Okay, isn't it cute? I really feel like the trunk looks different. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are now going to sew on the tail. So we're going to grab our tail and then our darning needle, and then we're going to thread our darning needle on. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to come up like about 2 rounds, 1 or 2 rounds, let's see. Okay, so we're going to sew up to the 2nd round, kind of like in the middle. Oops. Okay, and then what we're going to do is okay, so once we have our tail there now, we are just going to sew into this chain, into this first chain. So I'm just going to catch the back bump with my needle here, and then I'm just going to sew back down into the body, and then I'm going to sew one row down, and then catch the tail again. This time I'm going to insert up into the tail and then sew it down like that kind of thing. Okay, so something like that. So now again we can just weave in our tail end quite a bit amount of times, or a few amount of times. Okay, we're nearly done. This has been a really long tutorial. I did not think this was going to be this long, recording it and all of that. So yeah, I mean, it's taken me nearly an hour to sew everything together, so it's crazy, I must say. But we are nearly finished. I feel like this might be like one of my longest videos that I've ever done, but I in a way don't think it would be, because I think either my Black Splash cardigan or my Ocean Breeze sweater took the longest, I think, but I might be wrong. Okay, so I've just sewn this in a few times now. Okay, gonna sew it in a few more times. See if I can sew it in just like one more time. Okay, so now I'm gonna snip off my tail end there. Okay, so that is our main little elephant done. Isn't it cute? Now the only thing we need to do now is sew on the little bow, and then embroider around the eyes, and then add the whatchamacallit, and then add the whites around the eyes. Okay, so we're gonna sew on our tail end. So now we're just gonna place the bow like there, and then we're just gonna roughly kind of like sew it to the ear. Okay, wait, I think I want to actually sew this through here first. Oops. So like that. Okay, so now I'm just gonna roughly sew on this bow. Okay, so I'm gonna sew it on to like this stitch here, that one side there, and then I'm gonna sew up back into the bow, and then I'm gonna sew onto the ear. Okay. So I just sewed back into the bow. Okay, and now I'm just gonna sew back into the ear. Okay, so this doesn't have to be really perfect. It's literally just tacking the bow to the ear. So I'm just gonna go back into the bow, and I'm gonna go underneath the stitches of the bow. And then again I'm gonna insert my needle into the ear. I'm gonna come out somewhere on the body, well, not somewhere on the body, but just below. So I think I'll need to tack this down again, so I'm just gonna go back into the bow and then sew this down. Oops. Sew this down into the head. And again I'm just gonna tack this down, tack the side of the bow down. So I think that is all right. Yeah, I think that's okay. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, again, I'm just going to weave in my tail end a few times. Just okay. So now that tail end is sewn in, I'm just going to take my yarn and just snip it off. Okay, so now I'm just going to take this other tail end and I'm just going to sew this into the elephant as well. Okay, so I think that is sewn in enough. So I'm just gonna snip the remaining yarn. Oops. Okay, there we go. Okay, so there is our main elephant done. Isn't it cute? Okay, well now the trunk does not look so bad now that the bow is on. I don't know how that works, how that makes sense, but anyway. Okay, so now we're just going to embroider whites around the R's. But I think I am going to re-glue my R's on because, yeah, I am not happy with the way I've glued the R's on. So, yeah, I'll do that quickly and I'll come back and show you what to do for the R's. Okay. Okay, so now I am back and I have tried to fix up the R's as best as I could. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to grab some white yarn, which I have already grabbed some yarn. You won't need a lot, so literally just a little bit. And I forgot to mention that we're needing like a really extra small darning needle. Like this is really small compared to the one that I was using. I just found this is a lot smaller and easier to work with in terms of sewing on the R's or the whites of the R's. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to insert my needle through the back and then I'm going to come out like just above the R over there. So just above the R, and then I'm going to pull that out. You want to leave a bit of a tail at the back, so you want to leave a bit of a tail, and then what we're going to do is we're going to sew down just below the R, and then you're going to come out above the R on the other side, if I can even get there. Oops, there we go. So just want to come out a little bit more closer to the R. Okay, like there is fine. And then I'm going to grab the yarn and pull it through. It does help if you do have some jewelry pliers or some pliers on the side to help pull the yarn through. And there we go. We're just going to leave that like that. Okay, like that. Okay, and then we will sew down to the other side or down beneath this R here. So we'll sew like down there, and then you are going to want to come out the same stitch that you first went into at the back. Okay, so now again you just want to make sure that it sits just next to the R. Give that a little bit more of a pull or tug. Yeah, like that. I think that is fine. Okay, so yeah, that is it for this tutorial. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I think he looks alright. Yeah, so I think that is fun. Does look a bit funny, doesn't he? Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to pull this out, and then we will knot these two tail ends. So we will just knot these just a few times. Okay, and then you just want to snip this short, not too much shorter, even that is fine. And then what you'd want to do is you just want to grab your hook and insert your hook in somewhere on the head and come out that same stitch that you came out of, not out of, that you made your knot in. Come on. And then what you'd want to do is you would just want to just hook this over your hook. Let me maybe come out a little bit closer. Okay, and then I'm just gonna take my crochet hook and just push this in. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so there we go. That is what our little elephant looks like now. Yeah, I really should get I should really get more of my stud safety eyes, because like these flat ones just aren't working with me anymore. Okay, so yeah, that is it. The only thing we need to do now is just add our jump ring and our keychain. So you just want to grab that now. So there's my jump ring and my keychain. So now what you'd want to do, so you just want to grab your jump ring like that, and then what you'd want to do is you'd want to find the first round that we did, which is this one here of the head. So I like to insert the jump ring through one side of the magic circle, not the magic circle, around one, and pop your jump ring through the other side. Okay, like that. And then you just want to take your keychain and just insert the first little chain thing onto the one side of the jump ring, and then you just want to squeeze this closed like that. So there we go. There is our little keychain elephant. So yeah, hopefully yours looks a bit much better than mine, especially if you had the little stud safety eyes, which I'm sure you would have. So yeah, I'm sure your safety eyes would look much better than what mine do at the moment. Doesn't look very nice. You can see where the glue previously was. But yeah, anyways, I really hope you managed to follow along. Yeah, so sorry for the for this tutorial being so long. I did not think it would be this long. Well, yet again, there are like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 components to this elephant. So so yeah, but anyways, thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe if you haven't already, and if you are subscribed, please make sure you click the notification bell so you'll be notified of when I upload new content to my YouTube channel. So yeah, if you'd like to see more keychains like this, I have much other simpler keychains that I've done, like a sunflower, a strawberry, a ghost, evil eye, a frog, and avocado, just to name a few, and my little mini bee keychain and my large bee keychain if you are interested in those. So yeah, again, thank you guys for watching, and yeah, happy crocheting. Bye guys.